Guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing great wherever you are. Today's video, I am going to be reviewing a plugin called WP Adminify, which brands itself as the #1 WordPress dashboard customizer plugin. So if you're looking for a plugin that would allow you to customize your default WordPress backend, this is going to be the plugin for you. Let's say, for example, you wanted to change the order of the menu items on your WordPress backend. You can do so with this plugin. Maybe you wanted to change the names of the columns or even the menu items on your WordPress backend. You can do so with this plugin. Maybe you wanted to create folders for your media files, your posts, your pages. You can do so with this plugin. Or maybe you even wanted to change the background color of your WordPress dashboard. You can do so with this plugin. So what I love about this plugin is that it is more than just a plugin for customizing your WordPress backend. You can do so many other things like disable comments, customize the default WordPress login page. You can duplicate posts, pages, your menus, and so much more. So think of this plugin as a Swiss Army knife of different types of functionalities. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to walk you through most of the modules. There are about 20 of them. I'm going to walk you through how you can use most of them, and then towards the end of the video I would also show you the tweaks section. What I mean here is there's a particular section within this plugin called tweaks that would allow you to improve the speed of your WordPress website by making certain kinds of modifications. So basically this plugin is both a WordPress dashboard customizer, but it's also a performance enhancer kind of plugin. Now, I personally believe that this plugin is criminally underrated, because if you were to go to the plugin page on the WordPress repository, you will see they only have about 1,000 active installations, which is just criminal. So I thought that this would be a great plugin to promote, because I believe that it's actually a very good plugin. Now, the plugin comes in two different versions. You have the free version, and then you also have a paid version. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to make use of the free version of the plugin, and then in certain cases I will show you what you could do with the paid version of the plugin. So you don't have to buy the plugin. Most of the content in this video will be focused on the free version of the plugin. However, if by the end of the video you feel compelled to buy the paid version of the plugin, I am an affiliate for these guys. So what that means is that if you bought the paid version of the plugin with my link, which you'll find in the description box below, I will get a small commission. So if you want to do that, if you want to buy the paid version of the plugin, please do so with my link. It's a great way to support me and support what I'm doing here on the channel, so thank you in advance. But like I said, you don't have to buy the paid version. The free version is very good. So I'm going to have timestamps in the description box below highlighting each module that I will cover. So if you're interested in any particular kind of functionality or module, you can skip to that particular part of the video. So without wasting any more time, guys, let's get started with the WP Adminify plugin. All right, so let's start by activating the plugin. I have already installed it, as you can see, but I'm going to go ahead now to activate the plugin. And when you do that, you will see that the backend will change automatically. And now you can see the backend has been taken over by the Adminify plugin. I'm going to skip this option for updates. And the very first thing I want to show you before we take a look at the functionality of the modules would be the color theme mode. You have two options. Right now you can see that our back end for WordPress has the white mode enabled. Now if you were to come down here to customize under modules, you will have different types of templates. Okay, most of these unfortunately are only available with the paid version of the plugin, but with the free version you have two choices: the light mode and the dark mode. I'm going to go to the dark mode in here, so I'll choose option 2, save. And now you can see that our WordPress backend now has the dark mode enabled. Now for the pages within the plugin itself, like the modules page, the customized page, the logo options page, and so on, these ones too, you can also change the color theme. Right up here, you will have this option to turn on the night mode or the dark mode. And now you can see that the pages within the plugin itself is now in dark mode. So I'm going to go ahead right now and save that, and that is it. Okay, let's take a look at the modules right now. And on the modules, you can see we have several of them. There is a very good chance that you're not going to make use of all these functionalities. So in such a situation where you're not using any one of them, I would highly recommend that you disable them. As an example, I can disable the admin notices, and I'll just come in here, save, and that's pretty much it. So make sure that once you've gone through the plugin and you've discovered there are several of these modules that you're not using, please disable them. To save time and to ensure that this video is not too long, I'm not going to cover every single one of these modules. I'll just focus on the most important ones, starting with the folders option. It's the very second one in here. Now, what this does is that it allows us to categorize our posts, pages, media by creating folders. As an example, if I was to go to my posts page right now, let's click on all posts. So the way this works right now is that I can come right here and create a new folder. Okay, so create new folder, and let's call this one South America. Okay, just as an option, and we can choose like the blue tag for it to save the folder. Okay, so now I have South America. I can now group all my posts under the category of South America in here. So for example, enjoy the carnival in Brazil. I can click drag and then simply drop it inside South America. I can do the same for mystery of Easter Island, and I'll do the same thing for Rainbow Mountain as well. Drop that in there, and there you go. So in the situations where you have plenty of posts on your WordPress website, you can find those posts very, very quickly by going to the folders where you have dropped them in. So instead of me going through all of these posts, I can simply come down here to South America, view it, and now I can see all the posts under South America. So this is a very, very quick way to categorize your posts, pages, by putting them in folders. You could do the same for media as well. However, with media, it is slightly tricky. What I mean here is this, okay? If I was to create a new folder, and let's call this one, let's say places, okay? And let me give this one the yellow color, just as an example. Unlike the posts, you cannot click and drag and then drop inside the folder. That is not going to work. It won't work if you are in the grid format, which is what we have right here. You have to switch the view to the list view option. Okay, it has to be like this. So from here right now, I can simply click and drag. So as an example, I can drag, let's say, this particular car right here. Okay, I can click and drag and then drop it inside. Let me just put it up here first. Okay, and then from here, I can now click and drag and then drop it inside places. I can do the same for the about banner as well. Drop it in there. And there you go. So now if I was to click on places folder, you can see right now I have the two images that I have dropped inside there. So please take note of that. If you're viewing your images, your media files in this particular grid format, you will not be able to click and drag. You need to switch to the list view, and then from here you can simply click and drag into the folder that you want to place your media files into. The next module is going to be the admin columns. Now what this does is that it allows you to change not only the order of the columns with which you view your posts or pages, but you can even change the names of those columns. So as an example, if I was to go to my posts right now, by default you would have our title, the very first column for title, author, categories, and so on. We can change the order of the column, so we can have author coming in first before title, and we can even change the names from title to something else. Let me show you how you would do this. I'm going to go to WP Adminify. Right here you will have admin columns. I'm going to click inside, and from here we can choose what particular post type we want to work with. I'm going to stick with post. Okay, the first thing I'll do is I'll change the name from title to name. So I'm going to click on edit right here, and let's change title to name. So instead of title of the post, it's going to be name of the post. Okay, and then I can change author to, let's say, writer as an example. All right, so writer, and there it is. And then finally I am going to change the order, so we have writer coming in first before name. I'm going to come down here, save my settings, and now if I was to view my posts page, now you would see that we now have writer coming in first as the first column, and then name coming in as the second column. But we've also, of course, changed the default names of our columns from title to name, and then from author to writer. You can do the exact same thing as well for your pages. So going back to the page right here, instead of post, you can click on page right here, do the exact same thing, or you can even go to your taxonomies and do the exact same thing for like the name, description, slogan, so on. You can modify the order of the columns as well as the names of the columns with this particular module. The next module will be the menu editor, and what this simply does is that it allows you to change the order of the menu items within your actual WordPress backend. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to come down here to menu editor just underneath the admin columns, and then from here you will have this page where we can now rearrange the order of the menu items. So as an example, I can put in posts at the very top. Let's put in appearance second, and dashboard will make it around here, just as an example. Okay, if you expand the column names in here, you can rename them as well. So instead of post, for example, you can change them to, let's say, articles, just as an example. Okay, you can also add a custom icon for them as well. You can change the link, but I won't do any of that. I'll just go ahead now and save. Okay, and now if I was to refresh our WordPress backend, now you can see the order has changed. Now we have post, what used to be post, it's now called articles at the top, appearance, and of course dashboard is right down here. So you have this option with the Adminify plugin as well. The next module is a very useful one, and that is the header footer scripts. And this would allow you to add custom CSS or JavaScript code either to your header or the footer of your website, so you no longer need any external third-party plugin for doing so. To make use of this, you want to go to the custom CSS.js link under WP Adminify right here. You click in there, and you can add your new snippet, your new piece of code. Click inside, and then now you can choose, all right, do you want to display this on the full site, or, well, unfortunately, for other options, this would only be available with the paid version of the plugin. But with the free version, nevertheless, you can go with full site, and then you can choose either the header, footer, or if you're going to go with the paid version of the plugin, you can choose to display it before the content or after the content. By default, you don't see header because it's the default option, but if I chose footer, now you can see the header option appearing. So by default, header will be chosen as the location, but if you wanted footer, just click on footer, and then here you can choose the snippet type. Are you going with JavaScript or are you going with CSS? If it's CSS, click on CSS, add your code in here, or if it's going to be JavaScript, if it's going to be CSS, you can write your code in here. It's a little bit confusing. I do apologize. If you see CSS in here, that means you're writing JavaScript code. But if you see JS, that means you're writing CSS code. It is a little bit confusing, but you can always get the hint right here, asking you what kind of code you want to write. So don't get confused. So that's how this particular module works. If you're adding code like your code for your Facebook pixels or your Google Analytics, and you're using any kind of third-party plugin, you can disable that plugin and simply make use of this particular module for adding your code in the header or the footer of your site. All right, so the next module is going to be the notification bar module, and this is useful if you want to display something like a notice or some sort of promotion on your front end. So to make use of it, you're going to go over here to the notification bar just under the server info. You click in there, and this will take you to the customized page right here. You will see notification bar by WP Adminify. Click inside, and then you want to go over here to the general settings, and the first thing will be to enable the notification bar. And then here you can change the alignment. You want it to be on the left, center, right position. I'm going to go with bottom, and then you also want to show the close button, and then you can type in the text here. So I'm going to type in close. Now I know you can't really see the text that well, to be honest, and yeah, it is what it is, I guess. So hopefully they might make a change in future updates where the color of the text will actually be white, so we can see what we're typing in. But anyway, down here you can see it says close, so you can always use the notification bar at the bottom to see what it is that you actually type in. And then in here, you have the expires in, and then the default here is going to be 30 days. You can increase this one to 60 days, 90 days is up to you. You can also add padding. I'm going to go back now to the content section, and then this will be where you can type in the actual content. So let's just say something like we wish you a great day ahead, you know, just something like that. And of course you can also add like the show learn more button, and then you can add the link for that particular button. I'm going to go back, and of course you have the display section as well. Where do you want to display this one? On the home page, post pages, and so on. You can also select the device. Do you want to display this on desktop or maybe only on mobile devices? And then finally, you've got the style options where you can change like the background color, the text color, things like that. I'm going to go ahead now and hit publish. And let's see how this will look like on the front end. I'm going to close this. And now let's go over to the main page. And if I scroll all the way down here, now you can see we have the message right there. We wish you a great day ahead. Click on close, and that is it. So that's how to make use of the notification bar module. The next module is going to be the activity logs, and it's a great security module that will display all the activity that's been going on your site. So it's a great substitute for any sort of security plugin that you might be using strictly for showing you the activity logs. So very simply right here, you just click on activity logs in here, and you will simply see every single thing that's been done on your site. And right here, you can modify how far back you want to take a look at. The default here is going to be 30 days. So you can click on all time, and then you can go maybe this month or week or yesterday, things like that. And then you can filter by the roles as well. What did the guests on my site do? What did the admins on my site do? You can also filter by users as well, by types, maybe what sort of edits were done on posts, things like that. You can filter, for example, and now you can see every single change or activity that's been done on posts within the last 2 hours. You can see right there. And that's basically how the activity logs module works. It's a very simple module, maybe not the best in terms of like security overall, but in case currently you're using a security plugin specifically for keeping track of the activity on your site, you can simply disable that plugin and make use of the activity logs module from WP Adminify. Next module is going to be the post duplicator. Now this one is also very useful if you want to duplicate any of your posts or pages. Now the way this works is this: even though it is currently enabled, in order to make it active for your post, what you want to do is to come over here to module settings, and then down here you will see the duplicate post. You click inside, and now you can activate it for posts as well. To be honest, I don't know why the posts option isn't checked by default, because most WordPress users typically want to duplicate their posts and not necessarily pages. So I'm going to go ahead now, save. So the way this will work now is if you go back to your post page, so articles, remember we renamed posts to be articles. So if I was to go to my all posts page right now, you will see we now have this option right now to clone by Adminify. So if I was to click on Adminify clone, now you will see we now have the clone Beauty of Edinburgh, but now it's in draft mode. So now I can go in there, make whatever edits I want to make, and then simply go ahead to now publish that particular post. You can do the exact same thing for your pages as well with this module. The last module here is going to be the disable comments module, and I'm only drawing your attention to it because by default it is set to enabled. So if you're running a blog where you want your visitors or your subscribers to make comments, please make sure that you disable this particular module. All right, but if you have like a business website, you don't expect comments, or you want to disable comments totally, you can of course come in here and simply make sure that this particular module is enabled. All right, So that's it for the modules. Again, I didn't go through every single one of them because of time, but you can play around with the other ones like, for example, the page speed insights, quick menu, and of course the sidebar generator modules as well. Want to show you something real quick before I round up. Now, over here, you do have the option of taking a look at your admin footer. If you notice, when you scroll down here to the bottom of your page, you will see some information in here like your IP address, your PHP version, things like that. You can modify this information in here by simply either showing or disabling any one of this data. Same thing goes with the admin bar at the very top in here as well. You can decide to hide the entire admin bar. You can disable the search form. You can disable the light dark switcher, things like that. So you have the options of customizing both the header and footers for your Adminify plugin. Now, very important section is going to be the tweaks section. This particular section is meant to allow you to improve the performance of your website by disabling unnecessary scripts and functions. Now, the very first section is going to be the head section. I have gone ahead to enable all the options in here. However, please, if you're going to do the same, make sure that you double check that nothing is broken on your site. I would say that 99% of the time, choosing all of these options, activating all these options should be fine for your website, but you never know. In certain cases, you might be making use of one of these particular scripts. So please double check before you go ahead and enable all of these options. But like I said, in most cases, you should be fine. For the feed, you can see that I did not enable either one of these two. That's because I don't know if whether or not you're actually getting feeds from third-party websites. If you're not getting any kind of feeds from any third-party websites, by all means, you can come in here and disable these two options as well. Now, for the HTTP response, I have enabled the second, third, and fourth options. Disable self-ping. In most cases, you can enable it, but just to be on the safe side, I have chosen not to enable that option. But the remaining three in here, you can go ahead and enable them. For the JSON API, you can see again, for the first two, I have left them as they are. But the last three, I have enabled because again, in most cases, you will not be making use of any one of these particular scripts. And then for comments, again, this is entirely up to you. If you don't want to enable comments on your site, by all means, you can come in here right now and enable all these particular fields. But if you want comments on your site, just leave these as they are, and then post archives as well. All these options in here are pretty subjective. The very first one here is to display the last modified date. So if you want to display this on your posts or your pages page, you can enable it. Now, this particular option is very interesting. The remove capital P, dang it. People believe that WordPress, the P in WordPress, if you spell it as a small letter, if it's written as a small letter, that can improve the speed of your performance slightly. So instead of displaying WordPress with a capital P, this will display WordPress in with a small letter P. In all honesty, I don't think it will make that much of a difference, but if you have the option to do so, why not? I have disabled the date archives. I've kept it to no, so I am not disabling the date archives. Author archives, that's because I only have one author on my site. But if you're running a blog with multiple authors, please do not enable this particular option. So keep this one on no. And then tag archives, again, I am not working with tag archives, so I'm going to disable it. And then category archives, post format archive, search, all these are entirely subjective. And then finally, of course, the attachments, again, I have left these as they are. If you're not using any one of these options, please come in here and enable. And of course, performance. Now, this is probably the section where you need to be most careful. You can go ahead and enable all of this, all right, and then save, but please double check your website. check your website on multiple devices, check your website on multiple browsers. If you have a friend living in another country or in another city or town, let them visit your site and make sure that nothing is broken, because when you start removing scripts and styles and parsing JavaScript to the footer, that could potentially break something on your site. Alright, so just a few last things to point out before I round up the video. With the paid version of the plugin, obviously you will have access to a lot more options and functionality. An example would be the login customizer. With this particular module, you can customize the default login page for your WordPress website. So with the free version of the plugin, unfortunately, let me just refresh this page. Unfortunately, you're going to have access to only 4 templates. Let me show you real quick. So right here under templates, you can see we only have access to 4 options, but with the paid version of the plugin, you will have access to a lot more options in here, as you can see. Let me close this. And then also with the paid version of the plugin, if you were to go to admin notices, you can do things like hide all the admin notices, remove the PHP update required. You can do things like this with the paid version of the plugin. And then for the white label, if you want to create your own white label, you can do so with the paid version of the plugin. Now, finally, on the backup, if you wanted to export the settings that you already have on your current site, maybe you've installed the plugin on another site as well, and you wanted to duplicate the exact same settings, you can simply come in here right now, click on export and download, go over to the new site, go to this page, and then paste the code right here inside this box, and then simply click on the import link, and you will have the exact same settings on your new site as you do on your current site. So that's it, guys. We've come to the end of today's video where I have shown you how to make use of the WP Adminify plugin. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up, share the video with anyone who may feel might benefit from it, and if you're new here to the channel, please do subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified whenever I upload a new tutorial. And just a gentle reminder, if you want to buy the paid version of the plugin, please do use my affiliate link in the box below. If you've got any questions, comments, I'd love to hear from you. Put them down in the comment section below. I'll do my best to answer them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching the video, and until next time, stay safe out there.